Hello, I'm Dr. Jeff Larson, author of The Last 10 Degrees, which is my first novel. It's a hard science fiction climate thriller set in the Southwest in the year 2036, when climate change has led to a long-lasting drought and a rapidly changing landscape. The section I'm reading is from the book's beginning and introduces the book's lead character, Dr. Jeremy Stone, who's driving to Denver for a Phase 3 trial on his latest nanomachine, a machine that's designed to potentially cure lung cancer. So let me read a little excerpt from the start of the book. Stone grabbed his briefcase and travel pack and headed out onto the deck of the research facility. Sorensen followed with his suitcase. Several of the lab researchers came out onto the deck to send him off. It was a beautiful San Diego day, air temp 101 degrees and ocean temp 86. It would be good to be on the road and away from the lab, a luxury Stone rarely allowed himself. He placed the travel pack and briefcase along with his suitcase in the travel storage compartment and climbed into the Super Prius. Jeremy had chosen a path from San Diego to LA through Needles, on through Williams, Arizona to the Grand Canyon, to Kanab, Utah, and then southeast to Page, which held the horseshoe bend of the Colorado River. He chose these spots for their photographic beauty, and they promised to give him time to test out his new wide-angle lens. He set the inside temperature of the car to 69 degrees, voice commanded the computer to chart a course of least traffic north out of San Diego, and hit the start button. He cruised north on the 5 through Oceanside, where he saw surfers riding highways that went by the big marine base at Pendleton. As he drove along the beach west of Pendleton, he could see off to his left where the military had erected dikes to prevent the Pacific Ocean from inundating the large base. Many coastal cities had erected these barriers to keep the ocean water from flooding their low-lying areas. In spite of worldwide attempts to contain fossil fuel emissions, the CO2 reading on the top of Mauna Kea in 2036 read 678 parts per million. The ocean level rise had followed this continued rise in CO2. Stone planned to stop briefly at Caltech in Pasadena to look in on some experiments one of his former postdocs was completing. Her experiments had probed how lung cancer cells turn off the immune system's attack by cloaking themselves with an unusual protein. This research might help him when he got to Denver. Just north of Marine Base, Stone saw the sign for the San Diego-LA Tube, an underground magnetic transport tube that ferried traffic at high speeds between the two cities. Some call it the Musk Tube in honor of its inventor, Elon Musk. By voice command, Stone readied his car to enter the tube. Computers took over from there and whisked his car along at 320 miles an hour. It took only 20 minutes to reach the outskirts of the big city. Entering South LA, coming out of Musk's tube, the car flicked on its lights, reacting to the thick smog. LA had a population now of 20 million and maintained its dubious record for dirtiest city in the US. Ozone and small particulate level exceeded standards at least 290 days out of each year. He took the Pasadena freeway north and drove to Caltech. Sheila McCafferty, PhD, was waiting for him in her lab. Sheila, 32, ran a lab with 3 other postdocs and 2 senior scientists. They've been funded by Caltech and the NIH for several years now. He was happy to show off the lab to her former mentor, who now beamed like an expectant father. As he smiled, his eyes took in her shape and beautiful eyes. Well, great to see you, Jeremy. Likewise, fill me in on the latest. Well, we isolated the cloaking protein last week and are in the process of sequencing it now. We'll know in a few days how it works. Stone was always happy to see that the postdocs who had trained with him were making new discoveries. In this case, Sheila had been one of his top trainees, and he, of course, felt as though her accomplishments would reflect positively on him. That's excellent news. I'm heading up to Denver to start on a Phase 3 trial with one of our nanobots, and we may be able to use your results. Great, I'll keep you posted. I'll text you when you get the structure. We're planning to test the protein in a lung cancer culture system first and go from there. Excellent. Give me regards to your other lab members, Sheila. Okay, Jeremy, safe travels. Well, that's just a brief introduction to the book. I hope you find it interesting. Thank you very much for listening, and be sure to visit my website at jefflarsonauthor.com.